I think of Diana every day. Actually, the whole royal thing doesn't really, I don't find it as interesting as a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? I just get on with my life.
Few expected Princess Diana's own brother to become the strongest voice challenging Prince Harry and Meghan, but his reported stance has reignited one of the fiercest debates surrounding Diana's legacy. Is this a principled defense of his sister's memory, or an unfair rejection of her youngest son's perspective? As opinions collide and questions multiply, the truth seems harder than ever to untangle. So, what really happened behind the scenes? Do you think Charles Spencer is protecting Diana's legacy, or going too far? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more royal updates. 4 words changed everything forever. The reported response was astonishingly short, yet it immediately ignited fresh debate across royal circles. According to multiple reports, when Charles Spencer was presented with a proposal connected to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, his reaction reportedly came in only 4 blunt words. Is this a joke? Those words quickly became the center of intense speculation, because they appeared to reveal far more than simple disagreement. Instead, they suggested that something about the proposal crossed a deeply personal line, raising questions that reached far beyond one documentary. Almost immediately, commentators began asking the same question. Why would Princess Diana's own brother reject an idea involving his nephew, the younger son of the sister he had spent decades defending? The answer was far from obvious.
Today, Diana is vying to help her country for the rest of her life.
Public attention shifted away from the palace and toward Althorp, the Spencer family estate, where Charles Spencer has long protected many of Diana's most private memories. Unlike Buckingham Palace, which preserves official royal history, Althorp remains closely connected to Diana's personal life, her childhood, and the private archive that only her family controls. Reports claimed the proposal centered on a future documentary, exploring Diana's legacy. While documentaries about the late princess have appeared many times before, this project was said to be different because it allegedly sought access to private family materials unavailable to previous filmmakers. That single detail transformed an ordinary media proposal into a deeply emotional family matter. Whether those reports captured the complete picture remains uncertain, but they immediately intensified public curiosity. Supporters of Harry and Meghan argued that telling Diana's story through her son's perspective could become a meaningful tribute. Others questioned whether deeply personal family archives should ever become part of a commercial production, regardless of the intentions behind it. That disagreement quickly became the heart of the controversy. It was no longer simply about a documentary. It became a debate over ownership, responsibility, and who ultimately has the moral authority to decide how Diana's memory should be preserved. One important detail separated this situation from many previous royal disputes. The final decision reportedly did not rest with the king, Prince William, or palace officials. It rested with Charles Spencer, the one family member entrusted with protecting Diana's private legacy. That reality gave extraordinary weight to his reported refusal. Whether viewers see his response as justified protection or unnecessary rejection, one mystery remained impossible to ignore. Why had Harry's own uncle concluded that this proposal deserved such an unforgettable response? What really happened to Diana's private world after the cameras disappeared? Who decided what the public would never see? And why does Charles Spencer still hold that power today? And when that authority is challenged behind closed doors, what consequences begin to surface next? Let's find out. Keeper of Diana's silent legacy. For nearly 3 decades, Charles Spencer has occupied a role unlike anyone else connected to Princess Diana. While the royal family continued preserving her public place in history, her younger brother quietly became the guardian of the woman behind the headlines. That responsibility did not arrive through official appointment or royal decree. Instead, it grew from loss, family duty, and a promise made during one of the most emotional moments the modern monarchy has ever witnessed. Since then, every major decision involving Diana's private world has carried his unmistakable influence. The turning point came after Diana's death in 1997.
We have reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident.
Although millions watched her funeral at Westminster Abbey, her final resting place was not chosen within a royal burial site. Instead, she was laid to rest on a small island at Althorpe, the Spencer family estate where she spent much of her childhood. That decision symbolized something larger than location alone. It reflected the Spencer family's determination to protect the private Diana from becoming completely absorbed into royal history or public ownership. During the funeral service, Charles Spencer delivered a deeply remembered tribute that reached audiences around the world. His words honored his sister while expressing concern about the pressures she had endured. Many viewed that speech as more than a farewell. It sounded like a lasting commitment to defend her memory, her dignity, and above all, her son's. Whether every expectation from that moment could ever be fulfilled remains open to debate, but the speech established how seriously he viewed that responsibility. As the years passed, a clear distinction gradually emerged between the Diana known through photographs, documentaries, and newspaper archives, and the Diana whose letters, family memories, personal belongings, and unseen records remained inside Althorpe. Visitors could learn about the princess admired across the world, but access to her most intimate history stayed carefully restricted. Charles Spencer rarely opened that private collection, regardless of public interest or commercial opportunity. Supporters have often argued that this careful approach preserves Diana's humanity, instead of allowing every detail of her life to become public property. Others believe more openness could help future generations understand her extraordinary impact more completely. Both perspectives continue shaping discussion, yet neither changes one important reality. The authority to decide has largely remained with the Spencer family, not the palace. That history gives fresh meaning to the reported refusals surrounding the recent proposal involving Harry and Meghan. For Charles Spencer, the decision appears to extend far beyond one project. It reflects decades spent protecting a deeply personal legacy, making every future request far more significant than it first appears. It is not simply a matter of approval or rejection, but of safeguarding the way Diana's story is interpreted in public memory. Each proposal, no matter how carefully presented, carries the weight of past controversies, media pressures, and family sensitivities that have shaped his approach over time. In this context, hesitation becomes a form of guardianship, where boundaries are drawn not out of conflict, but out of responsibility toward history, truth, and the emotional impact on those still connected to her name. It underscores how unresolved the legacy remains, even decades after her passing, within every decision linked to her memory. But why did Diana's memory become such a dividing line in the royal conversation? When tribute turns into controversy, where does intention end and interpretation begin? And what really happens behind the reactions that split public opinion so sharply as the story moves forward? Stay glued. Diana's legacy sparked growing division. As the years passed, conversations about Princess Diana gradually became intertwined with the public lives of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What began as heartfelt references to a beloved mother slowly evolved into a wider debate that divided royal watchers, commentators, and even longtime supporters of the family.
We'd heard her when she didn't know we were listening, but we couldn't get her into the choir. She was too shy to take the audition. Dancing, of course, was her real forte.
For some, these moments reflected genuine remembrance. For others, they raised difficult questions about where tribute ends and public storytelling begins. One of the earliest instances came after Harry and Meghan's 2018 wedding, when Meghan was seen wearing jewelry that had belonged to Diana. The aquamarine ring attracted immediate attention, followed over time by other well-known pieces associated with the late princess. Many people viewed those appearances as respectful acknowledgments of Harry's mother, and a meaningful way to keep her memory close during important moments. Others wondered whether repeated public appearances featuring Diana's jewelry inevitably encouraged comparisons that would become impossible to ignore. Those comparisons grew stronger as Harry increasingly spoke about his mother during interviews, documentaries, and later in his memoir. He openly described Diana's influence on his life, the trauma of losing her, and his belief that some of the challenges faced by Meghan reminded him of experiences Diana had endured. These reflections resonated deeply with many supporters, who believed Harry had every right to explain his own memories and the lasting impact of his childhood. However, not everyone interpreted those parallels in the same way. Critics argued that repeatedly linking Meghan's experiences with Diana's story risked oversimplifying two very different situations. They questioned whether such comparisons unintentionally encouraged the public to view Meghan as following directly in Diana's footsteps, even if that was never explicitly stated. Supporters strongly disagreed, insisting that Harry was simply sharing personal emotions rooted in his own family history, rather than attempting to recreate his mother's public image. The growing disagreement revealed something much larger than differing opinions about interviews or jewelry. It exposed a deeper conflict over who shapes Diana's legacy and how her story should continue to be told. Every new appearance, interview, or public statement seemed to reignite the same discussion, drawing fresh attention to memories that remained emotionally powerful nearly 3 decades after her death. Against that backdrop, Charles Spencer's reported refusal began to look different. Whether viewed as an act of protection or an unnecessary barrier depended largely on how each observer understood Diana's legacy. Yet one conclusion became increasingly difficult to dismiss. Trust surrounding her memory had become fragile, and every decision connected to it now carried consequences reaching far beyond the immediate family itself. Why would a simple anniversary documentary trigger such a powerful refusal from within Diana's own family? What lies inside the private archives that made access so controversial, and who ultimately decides where Diana's true story belongs as the next move quietly unfolds? Stay tuned. Proposal crossed the final line. Reports about a proposed documentary marking the 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death quickly attracted attention, but what truly captured public interest was the claim that the project sought something rarely discussed outside royal circles. According to widely reported accounts, the proposal was not simply about retelling Diana's remarkable life. It allegedly requested access to deeply private family materials kept under the care of Charles Spencer at Althorp, transforming what might have been another historical production into a sensitive family decision with lasting consequences. For years, Diana's public story has been told through photographs, television footage, newspaper archives, and countless interviews. Those materials belong to history and have been examined repeatedly by filmmakers and historians. The reported proposal, however, was said to reach beyond that familiar record. It allegedly included requests involving Althorp itself, unseen home movies, personal handwritten diaries, and other private family possessions that have never been widely shared with the public. Whether every reported detail was accurate remains uncertain, but the claims alone sparked immediate debate. Supporters of such a project argued that a carefully produced documentary could offer a more complete understanding of Diana's life, especially if presented through the perspective of Prince Harry. They believed previously unseen material might deepen public appreciation for the woman behind the global icon. Others viewed the reported request very differently. They questioned whether private memories preserved by a family should become part of a commercial production, regardless of its intentions or emotional appeal. That difference in perspective appears to explain why Charles Spencer reportedly reacted so firmly. From one viewpoint, the proposal represented an opportunity to honor Diana before a new generation. From another, it risked opening a private archive that had remained protected for decades. For someone who has consistently guarded those personal memories since 1997, granting such access could have represented a profound change in principle rather than a routine production agreement. The distinction between a public history and private family history became the heart of the controversy. Museums, documentaries, and books have long explored Diana's extraordinary life using publicly available sources. The reported proposal allegedly crossed into an entirely different category by seeking material that remained under the Spencer family's direct stewardship. That distinction carried emotional significance extending far beyond film production. Viewed through that lens, Charles Spencer's reported refusal became symbolic as much as practical. Whether interpreted as an act of protection or an overly cautious response, his decision reinforced one unmistakable message. For him, preserving Diana's most personal story may have mattered more than creating the most compelling documentary, leaving an unresolved question about who should ultimately decide where remembrance ends and privacy begins. We are left to consider whether legacy belongs to those who lived it, those who carry its name, or the audience that consumes it from afar, and what happens when those perspectives collide in shaping a public memory that refuses to settle into a single truth. At its core, the debate lingers because Diana's story exists at the intersection of grief, history, and public fascination, where every attempt to close it only seems to reopen deeper questions about responsibility, ownership, and the fragile boundaries of memory itself. How far does a childhood scar stretch into adulthood decisions? What really happened behind closed doors during the media storm that changed everything? And could the truth about Diana's treatment still be shaping actions we are only beginning to understand? Something is about to surface. Keep watching. Pain Forged, an unbreakable promise. To understand why Charles Spencer reportedly refused the proposal, many observers believe it is necessary to look back at one of the most painful chapters of Princess Diana's life.
Diana was checking that curtains had been drawn or something, from a very early age. And I mean, the saddest thing...
Long before streaming platforms and modern documentaries, another television production changed the course of royal history. In 1995, Diana agreed to the BBC's Panorama interview with Martin Bashir, an appearance that became one of the most watched and controversial royal broadcasts ever made. At the time, millions saw a princess speaking openly about her struggles, but the full story behind that interview would not emerge until years later. Subsequent investigations concluded that Bashir had used forged documents and deceptive methods to gain Diana's trust and secure the interview. The findings transformed public understanding of what had happened. What had once appeared to be a straightforward journalistic achievement instead became a powerful lesson about how vulnerable people could be manipulated when they were under immense personal pressure. The controversy also renewed attention on those closest to Diana, including Charles Spencer, who had introduced Bashir to his sister before the interview took place. Spencer later spoke publicly about the deception, saying he believed the dishonest tactics had significantly influenced events surrounding the interview. He expressed the view that Diana would likely not have participated had she known the truth. Those comments revealed how deeply the revelations affected him years after her death. Although no one can fully know his private thoughts, many royal observers believe the episode strengthened his determination to protect Diana's remaining private legacy from situations that could invite renewed exploitation. That history casts later events in a different light. Reports that a proposal sought access to Diana's personal archives did not arrive in isolation. Instead, they emerged against the background of a family that had already experienced the consequences of media intrusion at its most painful level. Supporters of a new documentary might have viewed the project as a respectful tribute, while critics questioned whether any production involving such intimate material could avoid repeating old patterns. The disagreement was never simply about film or television. It reflected contrasting beliefs about remembrance, privacy, and responsibility. Seen through that wider perspective, Charles Spencer's reported refusal appears less like a sudden reaction and more like the continuation of a principle shaped over many years. Whether people agree with his position or not, His actions suggest that protecting Diana's most personal memories remains a responsibility he takes seriously. That conviction would soon influence an even broader debate over who should define Diana's legacy for future generations and whether some doors, once closed, should remain that way forever. How does a legacy meant to unite a family end up pulling it apart in entirely different directions? When remembrance becomes personal, who decides what's protected and revealed? As tensions rise behind closed doors, what fracture is forming next within the royal circle? Stay with us. Two Brothers 1. Lasting Legacy. As debates surrounding Charles Spencer's reported refusal continued, attention gradually shifted beyond one proposed documentary and toward a much deeper family story. At its heart were two brothers who shared the same mother, but increasingly appeared to carry her legacy in different ways.
And she cared, and she was very, I think in a way she unconsciously took a role as the woman of the house too.
Prince William and Prince Harry both experienced the same heartbreaking loss in 1997, yet the paths they later chose reflected different beliefs about remembrance, responsibility, and the role Diana's memory should play in public life. Prince William has generally approached his mother's legacy through carefully planned charitable work and official engagements. Together with Catherine, Princess of Wales, he has continued supporting causes connected to mental health, homelessness, and vulnerable young people, reflecting many of the values Diana championed during her lifetime. While he occasionally speaks about his mother, those moments have usually remained measured and closely linked to public service, rather than deeply personal storytelling. Prince Harry has taken a noticeably different approach. Through interviews, documentaries, public speeches, and his memoir Spare, he has openly discussed the lasting emotional impact of losing Diana. He has described how her death shaped his adulthood and explained why he believes sharing those experiences matters. Many supporters view that openness as honest and courageous, arguing that Diana herself encouraged compassion and authenticity. They believe Harry has every right to tell the story of his own mother through his own experiences. Critics, however, have questioned whether repeated public discussions of Diana's life and legacy risk keeping old family wounds permanently in the spotlight. Some argue that private grief can gradually become overshadowed when deeply personal memories repeatedly enter public debate. Others reject that criticism entirely, insisting that no one should dictate how a son chooses to remember his mother. Those competing viewpoints have fueled years of disagreement, with neither side convincing the other. Against this backdrop, Charles Spencer's reported position appeared to reinforce an entirely separate philosophy. Rather than emphasizing public discussion, his actions have consistently suggested that some parts of Diana's life should remain within the family's care, whether motivated by privacy, principle, or painful experience. That approach contrasted sharply with Harry's willingness to speak openly about the past. It also aligned more closely with William's quieter style of remembrance, although neither brother has publicly suggested that Spencer speaks on their behalf. That contrast transformed the reported refusal into something much larger than a disagreement over one project. It reflected an enduring question that continues to shape public opinion today. Should Diana's legacy be preserved primarily through carefully protected family memories, or through the personal stories of those who loved her most? The answer remains deeply personal, ensuring this debate is far from over. Who truly owns Princess Diana's memory, when time, family, and the public all claim a piece of it? Should her story remain protected by those closest to her, or open to the world's interpretation? And what consequences follow when those lines begin to blur? Who owns Diana's enduring legacy? Nearly 3 decades after Princess Diana's death,
Diana told me later on she could hear me crying down the end of the corridor and she couldn't come.
the questions surrounding her legacy remain as powerful as ever. Time has changed the people involved, but it has not ended the debate over who should protect her memory or decide how her story is told. The reported disagreement involving Charles Spencer, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle brought that question back into public view. reminding many that Diana's influence extends far beyond history. It continues to shape relationships, public opinion, and the way millions understand the modern royal family. Charles Spencer has spent years overseeing the most private parts of his sister's life, from her resting place at Althorpe to family possessions that have never entered the public domain. His role has remained remarkably consistent. Whether people agree with every decision he has made, few dispute that he has treated those responsibilities with seriousness. His reported refusal therefore carried symbolic weight because it reflected a continuing belief that some memories cannot simply become public property. Prince Harry occupies a different position entirely. Unlike anyone else, he remembers Diana not only as a global figure, but as his mother. His interviews, speeches, and memoir have revealed deeply personal experiences that no historian or commentator could fully recreate. Supporters argue that those memories belong to him, and that sharing them honors the woman who shaped his life. From that perspective, speaking openly about grief is not exploitation, but remembrance, offering future generations a more human understanding of Diana beyond photographs and headlines. Others remain unconvinced. They believe that every new public discussion risks reopening painful family divisions, while encouraging endless comparisons between past and present. Some also question whether intense public fascination sometimes places impossible expectations on everyone connected to Diana's name. Those concerns help explain why even well-intentioned projects can generate controversy before they are fully understood. The public itself remains deeply invested in this story. Diana continues to inspire admiration because of her compassion, charity work, and willingness to connect with ordinary people. That admiration has never faded, ensuring that every decision involving her legacy receives extraordinary attention. As long as her memory carries such emotional significance, disagreements over privacy, history, and storytelling are unlikely to disappear. Perhaps that is why this reported dispute resonates so strongly. It is not simply about one proposal or one refusal. It reflects two equally understandable convictions. One believes precious family memories deserve lasting protection. The other believes personal experiences deserve to be shared by those who live them. Between those perspectives stands Diana's extraordinary legacy, still inspiring devotion, debate, and difficult questions that neither history nor time has completely answered for anyone. So, what do you think? Was Charles Spencer right to protect Diana's legacy? Or should Harry and Meghan have been supported? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal stories.